Hello, my name is Victor Lee, and I am VP of Clinical Informatics at Clinical Architecture. Welcome to this discussion about authoring ontologies, taking a value set-based approach. I'd like to start by introducing Clinical Architecture. Clinical Architecture's mission is to deliver innovative products and solutions that maximize the effectiveness of healthcare. Essentially, our medical tooling, which is one of our flagship products, is a terminology management platform that enables semantic interoperability. It has a lot of rich features which are illustrated on this slide, but I'm not going to go into all of their aspects. And instead, I want to focus on two different tooling components. The first is what we call the authoring of content models. These are essentially the ontologies that we are able to support within medical. And then because our approach, or one of the approaches that we can take to authoring ontologies, is to relate value sets to one another, it deserves a little bit of attention to talk about our value set authoring process as they feed into the ontologies. So without further ado, let me go ahead and open up a sample ontology that I've created. Now, this is just an example, and you may have your own favorite COVID-19 ontologies, and we can help you import them into medical, or you can author your own within medical, but I've just created some hypothetical concepts and related them to one another. So we start with this concept of COVID-19 as a confirmed infection as opposed to a suspected infection. I've created some relationships like comorbidities. And so I've just related COVID-19 to some of the comorbidities that you see here. And I've added some qualifiers because, at least according to CDC, some of these comorbidities are associated with increased risk of adverse outcomes, as opposed to some of them are classified as having possible increased risk. So we can qualify some of these relationships. So these are comorbidities, complications, you can see them here, a variety of symptoms. Again, these are all value sets where we've related the value set of COVID-19 to value sets of symptoms and a variety of measurements. Here you can see that we've got not only the SARS-CoV-2 labs, but also other blood tests that you might be interested in studying. Obviously, this lends itself to allowing you to interrogate these ontologies and stack them up with whatever data sources, perhaps EHR or HIE data, and allows you to do logical reasoning against them. These are some treatments. And again, just as an example, I've added some qualifiers because some of these, like the dexamethasone and other steroids, have been shown to reduce mortality, whereas other things like perhaps IL-6 receptor antagonists are still investigational. And then we've got chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which have been studied and shown to be ineffective for improving clinical outcomes. So these are just some examples of value sets. Now we can explore the value sets, but I'm going to take a different approach here and do more of a graphical kind of exploration in what we call looking glass. And so I'm going to open up this concept of COVID-19. And this kind of illustrates some of the connective tissue, because we've got, these are not just concepts that are floating out there by themselves. We've got COVID-19, we related them to a variety of comorbidities and complications. So for example, there were 21 comorbidities, so we could explore those. Maybe I want to drill into type 2 diabetes, so I can bring that one into focus. And then we can see type 2 diabetes actually has terminology bindings to 51 SNOMED CT terms. And we could scroll through this list here. There are ICD-10 terms, more than 99 of them. We can scroll through them here, et cetera. So we can kind of march and navigate up and down the hierarchies and ontologies. The other thing we could do is to explore this in a more tabular format in what we call the content model browser, or the ontology browser. And basically, this allows us to, for example, look at, let's look at type 2 diabetes, and let's expand this value set. And we can see here that this actually has many reference terms bound to it across ICD-10. And see here, you can see the ICD-10 terms, and scrolling down, more ICD-10 terms. We've got ICD-9 here. And then scrolling down further, you can see a variety of SNOMED terms. So that's another way to explore the ontology. Now, because these are value sets that are related to one another through these relationship types, it's worth discussing the authoring of these value sets. So I'm going to go ahead and go into our value set authoring tool, and I'll bring up our diabetes terms, and there's the type 2 diabetes term, and you can see, so this is a type 2 diabetes value set, and what you see on the right side are reference term definitions, and there are actually 54 different definitions across 3 different code systems, ICD-10, 9, and SNOMED. There's actually a single definition for ICD-10, and that is the type 2 diabetes E11 term, and if I were to expand that, you could see that because I've included descendants, I've automatically captured the 115 descendants for a total of 116 ICD-10 terms. We have similar reference term definitions for ICD-9, although we had to be a little bit more selective around what to include and exclude. Same with SNOMED. But the expansion of all of those 54 reference term definitions yields 187 total terms. So this is a way of not only defining the value set membership, but also because they are intentional value set definitions, allows us to leverage the relationships native to ICD-10 and SNOMED, et cetera, and to be able to update the value set over time. And in fact, there's additional features and functions that allow you to calculate the deltas between what the expansion might be at a future point in time after an update is issued by the source terminology. Now, because we've talked a little bit about value sets, I also wanted to draw your attention to a freely available resource called the COVID-19 Interoperability Alliance. Clinical Architecture is the founding member, but we have also collaborated with the organizations that you see on this page. And what we have done is to author more than 600 value sets related to COVID-19 for your free use. We're just trying to do our part to make a small impact on this pandemic. So we've authored the value sets. We have made them available in the downloads section of our webpage. And so from the download section, and you don't need to provide any credentials, but you can simply download the value sets either by code system, or there is a combined package where you can retrieve all the value sets across basically US CDI compliant code systems. What we've also done is to make this available in VSAC. And you can see the link above, vsac.nlm.nih.gov. You can sign up for a free account, and basically all of the 600 plus value sets from the Interoperability Alliance have been uploaded to VSAC, and they have OIDs if you need those. But basically, just to kind of summarize, I wanted to illustrate the tooling capabilities of Symmetrical for authoring and maintaining ontologies as well as value sets. But even if you had your own tooling and you wanted to get a head start with your own value set content, if that's how you prefer to create your ontologies, you have freely available resources available at your disposal from the COVID-19 Interoperability Alliance, and they're all hosted on VSAC. So that's all I had for now, and we can turn to Q&A. Thank you very much.